Alright, testing 1, 2, 3. It's going to be kind of windy out here today. It's a nice Saturday out here. October the 4th, 2014. Just got done training a little bit, did a little bit of Kali, was working on some footwork and shit and some other kinds of cool stuff that you didn't see. But that's besides the point. But let's get back onto the topic of the sun gazing experience. One of the things that I've read, that I actually watched on this video by Dave, aka Bar 911970, talks about how sun gazing cures depression, and I've also heard from other sources, like, let's say, walking outside, looking at very far distances, just walking, just taking a walk, maybe even barefoot out and maybe on the beach or something, or on some, on some earth, and you're just looking, you're just staring into far distances. That there, when you do that regularly, let's say on a morning walk or so, or on a stroll, is known to cure someone from depression, or or bad moods or whatever. It somehow brings up some clear positivity in them, somewhat. Same thing happens. Same effect also happens as a consequence from gazing at the sun as well. When a person is gazing regularly, and they're there, and they're standing, basically the body becomes like an electric conduit between energies from Father Sun to Mother Earth, where our feet are bare and we're just standing there. Our feet are connecting to the earth. They're connecting to the spirit of the earth. Whatever the earth wants to tell you, you listen to it. You feel for it. The same effect goes for the sun. You're right there in between them. And the sun's rays, they offer another language for you. They offer some kind of codes. They spark up the electricity that runs through your body, that makes the body healthy, that makes the body not sick as much, or not sick regularly. Even asthmatics are known to use their inhaler a whole lot less as well. Drinking some good distilled water or spring water, either way, some really good water that's very clean, preferably without fluoride, of course. And you just feel really good about yourself. Let me tell you a little bit about my own personal history. As a child, it was always natural for me to wake up early in the morning and just gaze at the sun, just look at it. All I knew was I just did it because it feels really good. And I was doing that pretty much my whole life, every time I found myself awake. Sometimes I've been known to stay up all night, or wake up very, very early in the morning and just stay up just to wait for the sun and just look at it. And I just look straight out in the distance, and then I just think about all these things that bother me, or things that I might be looking forward to having bother me. Let's say if I'm going to school that day or whatever, and all kinds of other shit that I might have to put up with that day, and I just deal with it right there in that morning. Where I just confront myself with my own thoughts, as if they're a whole nother village of beings to deal with. And I just feel really good for that. I used to, when I lived in the Philippines, I used to jog 1.5 kilometers away to the beach and do that, before the sun was out or whatever, and just go there by the time the sun rises, and then jog back home. I feel great after that. I feel super energized, All right, so what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I got two segments in my life, man. Before sun gazing and after sun gazing. And once I started sun gazing, and I know this sounds mystical, and people who are not really into the spiritual arts may not understand this. You might understand it later, but my eyes were open. My eyes opened up to the realities of life. People are like, well, you were in reality of life. I said, nah, I was in my mind, and I wasn't very focused about what was going on around me. But sun gazing allows you to look within yourself, and from looking within yourself, you get to see what's really going on with you, and with the reality that's around you. You discover that your reflection of what you see is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Sun gazing unlocks all that potential. There's no way possible you can be depressed while you sun gaze. Everything that you're so focused on that stresses you out, that leads to depression, which are your thoughts, they fall away. They fall away. They're not as important. You still have issues you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but they're just not as important anymore, you know. And when they're not as important, and when they're not pressing upon you, you can solve your problems a lot more easily. And sun gazing allows you to do that. It's a gradual process. When I first started, I started at 10 seconds. You know, 10 seconds, I saw blue light and red light converge, and it entered into my eye. And from that point on, you know, I'm up to 30 minutes a day in the morning, and I just did 15 in the evening, so I'm pretty much up to 45 minutes a day now. And it's been a long journey, but it's been a short journey. But like Daniel said, it gives you amazing energy. It's a natural type energy, and a lot of things I used to do in the past, chemicals to raise my energy level up or to make me feel better about my life, I just don't need them anymore. Alcohol, various drugs are just not important. I don't even use them anymore. I have no need. And it's not like I don't have them around me. They're around me constantly because I work as a bouncer at a bar, so I'm offered stuff all the time, and I'm like, I don't need it anymore. I don't want it. I have no desire for it. I've held it in my hand, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Take it. Enjoy yourself. So I've really enjoyed the process. The process has been really amazing. I've connected back with nature again. The grounding, the earthing is another deep level. That's a whole nother topic by itself. But I've fallen in love with Memorial Park. You know, I've pretty much committed myself to being close to Memorial Park. As long as I'm living in Houston, I'm going to be within 4 or 5 miles of Memorial Park. It's where I've had a lot of amazing discoveries about myself. So I'm enjoying the journey of sun gazing. It's lifted depression and stress out of my life. I still have issues that I got to deal with. They're just not as important anymore, you know, because the thoughts are falling away, and I'm just looking at myself for myself, which is just the essence of the universe. So it's fun. I'm in love with myself, so, you know, what better way to live life than to be in love with yourself?
Basically.
Oh,
speaking of the drug experience, I remember back in 1990, yeah. This one teacher, his name is Indian guy named Raj Gudur at George I. Sanchez. After I got thrown out of Milby, me and the boys, you know, it was just a bunch of us losers, you know, drug dealers, some other juvenile activity that have gotten arrested for some, you know, whatever other criminal record that, you know, that just shows that some of these guys are just future nothings, although some of them end up recovering. I remember one girl, she was in there for stabbing some other girl in high school, where she was thrown out of, for stabbing a girl in the head with some scissors. Of course the girl survived. It was just basically the point, just to scratch them, but of course it was over a guy, like usual. Anyway, these are the kinds of people that I was sharing the classroom with, and a lot of us, you know, we always like to mess with Raj, because he's Indian, dark-skinned guy. So, you know, we did impressions of Apu on The Simpsons, and you know, say, hey Raj, so you work at Stop and Go, you know, when they're not teaching, and he's always cool. It was hard to offend him. He's like, oh, I don't get offended. You can say what you want. And I remember one time I brought up the subject of yoga, like, hey, Raj, you do yoga? You know, I guess I was going to try to make some kind of joke with it about it. But he goes, hey, you know, if you do yoga, most especially if you do meditation, you do not need drugs anymore. And we're like, oh, really? It's like, why? Does something make you feel good, like if you're on drugs? He goes, kind of, but it's not like the same drugs that you do, but you feel really good about it. And I'm like, yeah, we didn't think nothing else of it, but I guess I kept it in mind through the years. And That is that is right. With enough with enough regular meditation practice, once once a person who's meditated regularly can be able to get really good and strong control of their breath, they can harness their own energies. They can harness the vastness of what's really within them. This is just a body, but this body is just a vessel. What we really are just souls that are occupying this body. However, this body and this soul, this consciousness, just like everybody else's, has one skill that it can do, and that is that it can access life force from anywhere out into the universe and absorb it, because other life forces are trying to also access and absorb them too. So that's also the other big pitfall about some of these new age groups that require a person to submit and obey to some other hierarchical power or whatever. But what that really is just a bunch of trickery. It's just the same thing, just like organized religion. You know, there's guys that are masquerading out as angels, archangels, namely archons, cons, you know, and so that's some of the other shit to watch out for too, you know, which you know, things like that happen. It just lumps everything else up, like alternative healing and all that, like into the same new age thing, but it's not. Most of the new age really is stuff that works, but it got really twisted into other things that led to a big huge power play for one or two or a whole bunch of other people that just want to control people, and that's it, just like a religion.
Yeah, that's hardly ever. There's not much real truth in the New Age movement anymore. You got to really look for the hidden gems, what's hidden in plain sight, because what's out there, you can get tricked real easily, thinking that you're following down a certain way, and really you're just going down a path that you wasn't even trying to go down. So.
Especially when they tell you to just believe, to just have faith in these powers without fucking questioning them. You know, how do I know that some of these powers aren't really there to rob my energy, to know that they can empower me at the same time as well as disempower me? Who the fuck are they? They can kiss my ass, you know? We all are our own sovereign entities if we can just, you know, really wake up to that and give that some notice.
Become your own master is the key. That's one thing. If I focus on my internal, it always leads me the right way, where I need to go, and I've had more insights. And again, sun gazing was the key to open the door to my potential. But now, as I follow myself, and I you know, I'm a big believer in speaking things into existence. So, you know, people say things in the name of Jesus. I say in the name of myself, you know, my higher power or whatever. And, you know, you may not understand what I'm talking about, but it just reinforces and makes you more powerful by speaking your own self into reality.
Give him a month.
And so if I follow my higher self, I'm always led in the right direction, without fail. Just, you know, it's basic common sense, basically. But a lot of things that are common sense are not so common sense.
Yep. I mean, we have to be in tune with these things called instinct. These are things that we were born with. These are things that we actually function with. Instinct is also the root of the intelligence of animals. The way they can communicate, the way that they can vibe, what they mean to say to you. If you're open to be able to read them. Another example, dogs. So far what we know about dogs is all they know what to do is love their masters. Even the more they beat them or whatever, it's them learning whatever way that it takes to make them believe that that's their only way to love their masters or whatever. But yes, that can be twisted in many other ways. But that's all the dog knows to do. As a matter of fact, Honey Bun, the little poodle at the house, after a good, strong, heavy round of sun gazing and meditating, I pick her up and I hold her close to my chest. And as the dog is a living being, knowing that the dog just likes to love, the dog is absorbing that emotion from me, that feeling from me, knows my intent, and it's like a crystal gem. You know, she's feeding me back this energy while it's a mutual exchange. You know, and it just generates kind of like a torus, you know, back and forth, in and out, and it just blends into its own geometry, you know, of points and rounds and circles and dots and particles. Um, whatever that you can come whatever I can come up with to describe the feeling, the vibration, this energy, this light and color, that it takes more than just feeling. It takes a whole big stacking of a bunch of realities from each branch of sense, from hearing to taste to a smell and sight and whatever else, but it's a sense that's way out there that goes beyond just this material realm. Uh, you know, people call it a psychic experience. Some people call it an esoteric connection, somewhat a connection of the minds or the hearts, or whatever the hell that is. Just in plain English, you feel it, you reel it. You dig?
What he said.
Yep, basically.